what went wrong was there was this racial and religious disharmony. That was the cause of all the distrust. Because for me, my race, my religion is an accident of birth. But this race and religious disharmony must be eliminated. There must be unity. Why we got independence? Because all the races got together. Together only we went to the colonial masters and say that we can manage. But today there are some political reasons. People are sort of encouraging racial politics. That must end. If we united this country, I have a lot of hopes in this country. I always say that when the God created the world, Sri Lanka was put in the exactly right position geography. That is why Indian Ocean or Sri Lanka has been looked upon by all world powers. So we are not sort of making use of that. So this is where the political unity is important. So my hope and prayer is that all the 225 ladies and gentlemen there will think of the country first.
There are many new parties and alliances formed, but it's always with the same people and the policies don't really change much. Do you feel there's anyone who has really brought an effective system change? Welcome everyone, you're watching Conversations with Alanki. It's been a while since my last episode of Conversations, but nevertheless I'm back with a new conversation and a new guest. Today my guest is a leader in the country who has had an illustrious career, and not just in politics. He served in the military, was the mayor of Colombo, was involved in the private sector holding many key positions, and was also the ambassador to Germany in 1992. Now, all of this was achieved even though initially he was from a non-political background. Today, I'm happy to be in conversation with the former Speaker of Parliament, Mr. Karu Jayasuriya. Welcome, Mr. Jayasuriya.
Nice meeting you.
Nice meeting you. And I know I don't see you in too many interviews, so I'm happy that you're doing this interview. Thank you for your time.
I'm a little publicity shy, so that is one of the reasons. Yeah.
I'm happy that you're doing this interview. I'm looking forward to the conversation. So as we begin this conversation, let's look back a little. Something that is less known about you is the fact that you served in the army. What made you want to serve in the army, and how was this period of your life like?
Well, in the school, I was a cadet, and so obviously there was a love for the uniform. That is one thing. And then also the army at the time was different to army today, and it also happened during a time when Sri Lanka went through two unsuccessful coups, by, I won't call it military coup, by service people. So therefore, that was a time where, as young people, we could also be of service to the country. The army then was commanded by a brigadier, not by a general. Then also the army strength was less than, it's around 8,000. Second in command was a brigadier, third in command was a full colonel, very small army. And at that time there was no war. What we had to do was, we had to do TAFI duty. It's called Task Force Anti-Illicit Immigration. The task before the army at that time was to catch the illicit immigrants coming from India, and also to control the smuggling of goods. So we had a very good time at that period, and we had a very good rapport with the local people. I still carry very happy memories of my stay in Punareen and Ayakachi and all those places where we were living in just Sakaran sheds. So I thought that joining the army at that time was 1 year of serving the country. So I did that for a limited period. Of course, during the time of the youth insurrection in 1971, we had a lot of active duties. And when I look back, I'm very happy that in my area where I was in control, that we didn't allow a single killing of any youth. So that is an achievement, because we also understood that youth also had some problem issue. That is why they were took to arm. But that time the arm they had was little galkatas and things like that, and shotguns, not the latest equipment. I'm talking about 71. But then immediately after that, I went to a private sector carrier. But I'm very happy that I was able to serve the country in some way.
That's remarkable. Let's moving on to a different topic. It was interesting that recently President Wickremesinghe stated that he plans to submit the Jana Sabha draft to Parliament following your proposal.
Yeah.
What are the key points of this proposal?
The National Movement for Social Justice. We are involved in, it's a group of eminent people who love the country both here and abroad. And we formed this group during the time of Venerable Reverend Sobita Madhurave Sobita Thero. He was actually equivalent to Bishop Tutu of South Africa. In 2013, on his 70th birthday, he came out and said that he is going to fight for the abolition of the executive presidency, because he thought executive presidency was the main reason for the abuse of power. So from that time onwards, we have been supporting him. And after his demise, I had to take over when I relinquished my position with the parliament. So we are having, every week we are having a Zoom conference on matters of national importance. So the Jana Sabha concept also was evolved arising from that, because it's not a concept that was in time during the Pandukabe time. That concept was there. Then India also we have a similar system which Mahatma Gandhi introduced, which is already been prevalent. And then Sir D.B. Jayatilaka was talking about this project just before the independence struggle. And this is one way of bringing about a new political culture during our time, my young days. Local government politics was completely above politics. We didn't contest a respectable person. I don't mean, when I say respectable, I don't mean with money, but people who can be looked into, some intelligent, and somebody has carried the respect and the trust of the village. So we had the village council, Gan Sabha. So Gan Sabha was responsible for running the village, but that was later converted into Pradesh Sabha by late President Premadasa. What we are trying to do is this new political culture where you avoid the political confrontation in the village, and where this Jana Sabha will be confined to the one Grama Sevaka division. So each Grama Sevaka division will have its own unit, and they will be overseeing the development work. The villagers, the people in the area, will decide on the development programs or whatever assistance required from the government. They communicate with the local administration, but also they work in harmony with the local government institution. So because what is happening now is the local government institution, that system is not working to the desired level. When I say that, because we have a Pradesh Sabha, it has a lot of politics, So we know some instances where the political master of the area, he selects his own henchman, and once elected, one man get the meat stall, another man get the travel, another man get the road contract, the other man get the irrigation contract, like that. But when they do the work, it is not done for the benefit of the area, but for their own benefit. But on this system, the people under the Jana Sabha, people in the area will decide the priorities.
So there's more power to the people.
Yeah, they know what it is. And also the fact that it has no political base. So because President Premadasa also started something similar that was called Gramodaya. But Gramodaya didn't achieve the desired result because Gramodaya officials were elected. When it came to election, once again, the powerful people in the area, or the village thugs for that matter, or in the marine people, they used to buy votes. So it became a political institution. What we are suggesting is there's no election for this. Appointment will have to be by consensus. Otherwise, we have to take by what we call by, even if there are two people, you toss a coin and then select mine. There are more, you can also have a secret. By consensus only the appointment should take place. So that will avoid political confrontation. So they are all independent people.
Right. Mr. Jayasuriya, like since we were speaking about provincial councils and municipal councils, I'd like to know your views. Do we need provincial councils and municipal councils? Because many in the public are of the view that there's a lot of inefficiency and corruption within these bodies, and a large sum of money is spent on these representatives.
Well, local government institutions have become corrupt because of the politicization. If there's no politicization, if the whole system of Gansabha was there, it will not be that bad. But when you ask me about the Provincial Council, because it came in as a result of the
13th
racial
Amendment.
conflict, 13th Amendment. So now, of course, you can't give it up. You have to accept whether you like it or not. But I still feel that the Provincial Council system, in a way, can be better utilized. But at the moment, what is happening, there is duplication. The government is, what should really happen is that the government must set policies, Provincial Council must do the supervision, and the local government institution must do the execution. That is not happening. Now, government is also executing policies, Provincial Council is also executing projects, and the local government also doing that. So this is why there should be some sort of a readjustment of the duties. And this, in fact, in 2015, when the Hapalne government came in, I proposed to the President and the Prime Minister then to have a presidential commission and earmark the responsibility so that the government will only set policies. Because huge structure in the provincial councils also. Now that it has come up, I mean, if you are going to abolish it, there will also have to be, there will be international repercussions. This has to be discussed with India, you know, and because we have already signed agreements. But there are times when it becomes ineffective. Some areas become ineffective.
I mean, I think many are of the view that we need a real system change. And the Arugula last year, I mean, it was a revolutionary movement demanding for political change and a system change. Do you think that the Arugula achieved what it expected?
Well, I had the opportunity of talking to more than 14 Arugula groups. These were very educated, young, energetic, clever groups, both young men and women. I was very impressed with them. But unfortunately, towards the end, the thugs got in.
Yes.
That is how the whole Arugula took a different division. But Arugula had it's like the 1971 insurrection. Also, of course, because of a certain frustration with the youth.
Yes.
Similarly, the youth, the modern day youth, they want freedom. They want justice. They want one rule and one law and one rule, you know. So there was frustration. So it might be that. It to some extent, with the Arugula, so even the rulers have realized that you can't have family bandism. They also realized that you can't run the country the way they want.
Right.
And therefore, definitely it has had some.
It has had an impact.
Yeah, it had an impact. But unfortunately, the whole thing was tarnished by the entry of undesirable elements. That once again they went in with political reasons. But I would still salute those young people who came out honorably, you know, and so unbelievable the youth participation. And so actually some of those youth are now involved in the Janasabha program also.
Right.
Yeah.
And
I told the president also we are going to enjoy Janasabha. So they are these respectable boys.
We need an effective system change. There are many new parties and alliances formed, but it's always with the same people and the policies don't really change much. When you look back on your long political journey, do you feel that we have really had a system change, or do you feel there's anyone who has really brought an effective system change?
Actually, it's very painful when I look back. I was born to a pre-independent Sri Lanka. 1940 Independence Day, I was at the Independence Square carrying a national flag because Mr. Serenai comes from my village. So therefore I had also got the opportunity of being there. And at that time, because everybody know that, you know, Sri Lanka was a very flourishing a well-managed, governed country with good economy and all that. The destruction of the economy and destroying the country was a result of politicization. I don't want to pinpoint my finger at any particular person, but most of the political decisions that were taken by some of the rulers at the time was very harmful to the economy. That is why we have come down to this level. So if you look at, now let me tell you that in 1952, the world's best railway was the Ceylon Government Railway. It went on time. I know in the villages, people used to set the time with the movement of the train. It went on time. So like that. Then look at the public service today. In the world, the average capacity of the public service is that for every 250 people of the population, you have one public servant. In Sri Lanka today, for every 13, you have one public servant. And who is paying for that? Who is paying? The people.
Taxpayer.
You and me, the people and all of us are paying for that. And look at the inefficiency. If you look at the average working hours in this country, I think average is Sri Lankan. You take all their holidays, works only about 190 days a year. So can you develop a country? So these are the areas. This is why you want new thinking, fresh management, infusion of new blood. And this political culture must change, going from father to son to the daughter.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right. All that must change. Young people should come in. Even in the local government elections, we have found that, you always, if there's emerging person comes up, he's cut. Now, when I was in active politics, when I was the deputy leader of the UNP, I did my very best to bring in the ladies into politics, females. They were very reluctant because the political culture here is so bad. If the moment a lady comes, there's a character assassination.
Right.
Then to make matters, although we have a majority women here, women don't vote for women. That's another one I can understand. Because if women have, we have been agitating for the participation of women and youth in politics. And then look at the parliament. What do you say? Parliament is the place where you have to discuss the country's issues, no? And that is why the 225 people are sent. But are we doing that? No. In the parliament, every day you are fighting.
Do you feel the opposition is effective?
No, I won't blame anybody, but what I say, you should have, I'm talking about the current situation. I don't want to criticize this current situation when Sri Lanka became the poorest country. You know what we propose, the National Movement of Social Justice. We propose to all of them, look here, forget politics. Between 6 months to 1 year, let us all work together. No opposition. We will agree on a common minimum program for economy, to restore normalcy and all those. And then once that is the country returns to normalcy, dissolve the parliament and go for election. Then let the people decide who should come in. But we couldn't get everybody together, unfortunately. Because in other countries, when things like that, the whole country unites. But here, even you can see, even IMF, there's no agreement. But people forgot the fact that, one time we had no electricity, we had no fuel, we had no food items. So therefore, the suffering. So therefore, there must be some national consensus. But I don't see that national consensus emerging with many people. There are parliamentarians who are good, decent, I must say, I won't say everybody. But unfortunately, parliament has become a fighting ground and not a place where national issues are being tackled.
Right. You have a lot of expertise, you have a lot of experience, you've been in politics for a while. How can we expect to see you involved in politics in the future?
Well, I have no intention of going into politics anyway.
Okay.
But I have agreed to support the government when President personally asked me to introduce the Jana Sabha system. I have given my heart and soul. And we are doing this. Of course, we are in the process of implementing it. We are going to do that ahead of time. I have a very dedicated, committed team, There's a Jana Sabha secretary and there is also a board of directors. And of the 4 people are from Arugula, young people. And they are committed. They work 14, 16 hours a day sometimes. And in part, then also President was very keen that the parliamentary oversight committees. We had parliamentary oversight committees was done during the time of Yahapal time. That came during, as a speaker, I was very keen in bringing that. It worked very successfully.
Mm-hmm.
We were able to bring about a lot of changes in the administration, give push to slow moving areas and all that. So President was keen that we revive the parliamentary oversight committees. That also I have agreed to, we have agreed to do that. That under National Movement for Social Justice, we and our team are helping behind the scene. That can also bring a certain change in sort of expediting the process of governance and strengthening the process of government. But otherwise, I don't come to the political platform, no. And also, other thing is, we had told the president that in the areas where we don't disagree, we come out openly. So when these attacks took place on the students and all that, we vehemently protested on that, So, but there again, I must say that once again, that on this issue, when I took up this issue of assault on the protesters, I think when the protested the president, he got the Minister Alas to talk to us. And he told me that you ask anybody to go on a procession, but apply in advance. 3 hours in applying that permission, give the starting point, give the destination, but you can't block the roads.
Right.
You can't take the right of the other people.
Mm-hmm.
So there is a point in what he said. What is happening now is you just, people get together, block the road, and that is not fair. That's not democracy, because other people also have right to travel. So these are the areas where these educated people also must realize that that's two-way traffic.
For sure.
Yeah.
Mr. Jayasuriya, when you reflect on your political journey, what has been the most fulfilling period of your career?
Well, whatever assignment that was given to me by the party, I think I have discharged. But I recall when I joined the party in 1994, by invitation, Mr. Naldu Singh invited me on my return as the ambassador from Germany. What he wanted to do was to have a new face in the party. So I said, I can't come into politics, but I will help you to reorganize the Sirikota. But then after some time, there was the second position in the UNP at that time, next to the leader, was the chairman. Right? The chairman, then chairman, had some disagreement with the president and resigned. So the party had to appoint a new chairman. So surprisingly, it was offered to me when there were so many senior people. I just come from join the party. It was offered to me. So when I took the chairmanship, so we started some reorganization work with the leader. We tried to modernize the whole thing and started dialogue with the international community, and there was a very satisfactory progress. And then came in 1996, the mayor of Colombo, who was earlier UNP, defected to the then PA or SLP, and they want a mayoral candidate. So then Mr. Vikrama Singh asked me to contest. I said, no, let me play this role, where behind the scene I do that. But he was pressurizing. I want some new concept there. Then I asked him, who is your next choice, second choice? Then he said, you are my second choice. And then I accepted that. I said, no, strictly on the understanding it is for maximum 1 year. So I only one request. I said I want to select my deputy, every person of my choice whom I can work. Then I handpicked Mr. Omar Kamil, who became the mayor, and that was my first entry into municipality. And we were able to bring about substantial changes, completely different. It was the time where we were able to privatize the garbage collection. At that time, the city was full of garbage. And the most important thing is that at that time, the municipal council people had like Mr. Veeravansa was there, Mr. Geethanjana Gunawardana, Mr. Handunnetti, Dr. Vikrambahu, Karunaratna, very strong socialist Marxist members were there. That was their first entry. But we were even able to do the privatization of the garbage collection, because what we did was, we changed the system of mayor taking the whole power. We shared power. There was power sharing. So we opened 14 parliament committees, and every Monday morning 9 o'clock we meet, and the jobs were assigned to these committees. So they did the job. And they went to Singapore. I arranged for them to go to Singapore and see how it works, with no cost to the government of Sri Lanka. And thanks to their commitment, thanks to their support, within a very short period, Colombo was cleaned up, and Colombo was selected as the cleanest city in South Asia. Colombo municipality was treated as the best managed municipality in Asia, and Colombo mayor was selected as the most innovative mayor. That is all because there was teamwork. And I don't take credit for that, because it's not something I can do alone. I only gave the policies, but there was brotherhood, the principle, and I'm very grateful to even the employees at that time. Some pregnant ladies were working till 10 o'clock, because we had a 99-day mandate. And similarly, we changed the political culture. When I look back, I'm very happy that we were able to change the political culture. When I came into politics, I had only 2 posters. One was out Karu Jayasuriya. On that there was another counter poster that said out Karu Taru. And then there was the second poster was give my number. And then on that there was they pasted human skeleton on my face. And after that, in my politics, I never used posters. I never used banners. I never used cutouts. I never had a political meeting of my mind. From my mouth, I never asked people to vote for me. So what I did was, I used to write a letter to every household using my stamp, paid for, but not the government stamp. But people gave me a big endorsement. In Gampaha, they gave me about 250,000 votes. So people also appreciated those new things. So that is why when I look back, I'm happy that I was able to bring about this new political culture. Then one area I'm very happy is about the 17th Amendment. Birth of the 17th Amendment was due to, we had a notorious election called Viable election in 1999. And at that time there was arson, there was destruction, there was killing, burning. And so that was the time where the civil society got together with the clergy and was to talk about the 17th Amendment. It was drafted. I chaired that committee, Citizens Committee. That is the one which was finally recognized by JVP and to join the then government as partners. So that brought about a complete change in the police service, and thanks to the 17th Amendment, it was possible to have one of the most successful elections without, this was, I'm talking about 2001, with all the harassment. So 17th Amendment, then also when you look back, you look at the Right to Information Act, for example. The Right to Information Act brought about a complete change in this country. Now this corruption is eliminated. Because I recall once we did a study on the expenditure of village development. We found up to 40% is either wasted or in corruption is lost. So those are now, there's exposure. Now if you look at the parliament, now we have the court system. And now we have started allowing the media to come in. And that has sent a new
transparency,
new culture,
yes.
So now people are exposed. And of course, I was blamed for bringing that in by allowing the media. But it is very effective. So these are the sort of new political cultures that we were able to bring about. So I'm very happy about it, So when I look back, and then the other important thing is on this being able to save the democracy in this country in 2018. There's a very, very serious incident where the political party with the majority and the appointed prime minister was sacked.
Yes.
And the minority government was established. At that time, I was as the speaker, I was able to stand up to that amidst all the threats and all that. So these are the areas when I look back, I could be happy. And also there was instance in where during the time of the conflict in the north, That there also the parliament had only one vote majority. On the strict only understanding that for limited period I offered to support the government. So these are the things that your deathbed that you can be happy, that I have done my duty by the country and I don't owe anything to the nation.
That's remarkable. Finally, if there's any message you could give to the audience watching this, what would it be?
Well, the most important message is when I look back, what went wrong was there was this racial and religious disharmony. That was the cause of all the destruction. Because for me, my race, my religion is an accident of birth. And Buddha was also a monkey during one time, so you have to accept that fact, rebirth, that is different issue. But this race and religious disharmony must be, there must be unity. Why we got independence? Because all the races got together. Together only we went to the colonial masters and say that we can manage. Mm-hmm. But today there are some, for political reasons, people are sort of encouraging racial politics, that must end. If we united this country, I have a lot of hopes in this country. The nature has blessed this country. I always say that when the God created the world, Sri Lanka was put in the exactly right position geographically. That is why Indian Ocean or Sri Lanka has been looked upon by all world powers, So
absolutely.
So we are not sort of making use of that. So this is where the political unity is important. So my hope and prayer is that all the 225 ladies and gentlemen will think of the country first. Then we can do that. But I have not lost my hopes in the country.
All right. Yeah. Thank you very much for this conversation.
My pleasure.
It was truly a pleasure to have this conversation with you. Thank you, and I wish you all the best.
Many thanks.
Thank you everyone for watching. I will be back with a new episode. Until then, stay safe, take care, and God bless.